This was sent by various people today as we are recording. I have an article here from the WrestlingObserver.com site by Josh Nason. For the first time since March 2020, AEW Dynamite will return to a live weekly touring schedule, touting in a press release that they will be the first major pro wrestling company to do so. The company announced the news Monday with their first 3 days and venues, with more live event dates being announced in the near future. The dates announced, Jim: July 7th, Miami, Florida, the James L. Knight Center.
Knight Center.
July 14th, Cedar Park, Texas, the HEB Center. And July 21st, Garland, Texas, at the Curtis Culwell Center. It talks a little bit about tickets going on sale here. So,
and by the way, Garland is in Dallas, so you might as well say Dallas. What was the
Cedar Park is Austin, apparently, according to this.
Okay, yeah. So it's not like they're just going out in the middle of fucking Texas, but the Knight Center might be fun for them because that was in the 80s. That Miami was never a big big town for drawing. Miami in the 70s for Eddie Graham did steady business of 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 a week, but they never did big crowds. We did that Orange Bowl show, the Bash, and it was not huge. They had Superstar Graham and Harley Race in a Super Bowl match, WWF versus NWA title, and only did 12,000 people in Miami. And that was 1978. So, and the Knight Center I've been to for Crockett when we were hot, it didn't, we'll see what happens. That could be a hard one. I think they'll do real well in Dallas.
Well, beyond the actual dates and the locations, what are your thoughts about the idea that AEW, beating Vince, will be the first to return to taping their shows on the road? You would think in front of live, I mean, if they're going to Texas and Florida, those are in front of live fans.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to do it. And Vince, they have no need to rush that just because they have no financial need. I would think that, AEW is probably wanting to get back to selling tickets as soon as possible. So for all the people who would want to go in a group of people, or as I call people now, contagious disease-carrying organisms, that'll be fun.
You surprised AEW is beating Vince to doing this?
Not really, because again, the WWE has to be careful because if they get bad publicity or whatever the fuck, and they don't have any pressing financial issues at all over anything anymore. So I'm sure that if it was up to Vince, he's like Dana White. He would have never stopped the fans from coming to begin with. But somebody else making decisions in the company, they're probably like, well, let's err on the side of safety a little longer. So, but now here's the thing. If they knew they were going to start selling tickets, why didn't they save their fucking blood and guts match?
Good point.
Why didn't they save that for a big arena with a lot of people in it instead of just giving it away for free with a poof ending? So now they've lost that. And by the way, somebody also on Twitter said the heels won the ultimate babyface blow-off match. So they're going to come back and the rematch will be football field fuckery 2. And then the babyfaces get to win that one.
I was hoping, the more I thought about it, that when Jericho was laying there in the fake metal and the crash pad, that this was the beginning of a beautiful summer tour for Fozzy.
Just take him out of it completely, right?
See you later. Adios.
But then he'd have to go out on stage in a wheelchair to keep up kayfabe.
You're acting like he has commitment to kayfabe.
Of course I am. Acting, that is. So I'm not saying, also, they're under the radar because people are not paying as much attention to them as they would the WWE. So they can, ease back into this and see what happens. But I sure would have saved some of the big matches like the War Games or the Blood and Guts for a building with a lot of people in it instead of an open air amphitheater where you can't really see the only fans you can see at Daly's place, whether they got them or not, are the ones that they pay to be around the ring, unless they take a wide shot of the people sitting sparsely in their pods.
That's what I'm waiting for. AEW with real fans at ringside again.
It could be interesting now that they've had to look at some of these mooches for a fucking whole year. They got to be sick of some of them.
AEW or WWE, do you see any reason why shows airing with fans in the building, do you think that is alone, or that is, for curiosity's sake, a reason that would cause the numbers to go up at all for either company? The ratings, that is.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you were going to go the other way. I thought you were going to say tickets. I think ticket sales will actually, for people who, for whatever reason, have missed the companionship of other human beings, I still can't understand it, but I hear it goes on. Ticket sales for fucking cornhole tournaments will be through the roof. I think live events will pretty soon be selling a lot of tickets, even if it might not have been something that was sold a lot of tickets a few years ago, just because people want to get out and about. As far as the TV ratings, I don't, would anybody, unless it makes it a better TV show and the jury, I mean, I think it will make a better TV show for the WWE that we don't have to look at the goddamn Thunderdome anymore, because that thing hurts my eyes. So I think that will make their TV better. I don't know if having fans back in the building will make the AEW television show any better or not. But I think any ratings bump would have to be just short term, wouldn't it? Unless just we want to tune in to see what the actual real fans react to. Would that be their motivation for watching a show that they weren't going to watch beforehand?
I don't know. That is actually one of the things with AEW I am looking forward to, is watching that show with fans there, because it changes everything. And we have not seen that for over a year.
Oh, somebody did bring up also in our review of Blood and Guts this past. Well, you didn't say anything about the ratings. What about the ratings? They were back up over 1 million people. So we don't have to play the tape. That would require work. But 2 weeks ago, we said, well, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to be, now that they're back down below 1 million people, they'll do the Blood and Guts, and they'll get back above 1 million people, and then they'll drop back below 1 million people. And Blood and Guts was just over 1 million people. So their big War Games blow-off match of this major angle involving 10 of their main event stars still didn't do what their first week unopposed did 2 weeks ago. And it beat the show that was against the presidential address. So basically everything, what we said. They will unopposed, they'll be over 1 million. They've dropped some, then they fell back below. Blood and Guts will be over 1 million because it's a big match they've hyped. Then they'll drop back, and then they'll have to come up with ways to hype bigger shows or find more Shaquille O'Neals and Mike Tysons. And then sooner or later, that's going to wear off because they're not growing gradually and organically. Their big shows get 200,000 or 300,000 more than their regular shows, and that's shrinking. They start big and then shrink every time. So basically, this is exactly what we said they were going to do, right?
Well, Jim, on the idea that they are going to be running live shows again, you have to think, if you're one of the fans who really, really wants to see wrestling, however, you're a little nervous about going out with the pandemic still out there, even if you've been vaccinated. You may look at your arms, you may look at your hands and go, wow, there's a lot of hair here. I need to shave some of this off so the germs don't leap off the person next to me onto my long arm hair.
That's right.
Or a transition just like that.
Or something like that in that direction. And I'll tell you, after you've been closed up by yourself in a pandemic for a year, chances are you do look like the Wolfman. Maybe Farkas the Wolfman, good old Willie Farkas. You might also, you've been masturbating quite a bit, so you probably got some hairy palms. So the point is, no matter what part of your body the hair is growing from, you need to tame that shit. And did I tell you about this breaking news, Brian? It's a big pubic service announcement that we're going to make, the news that everybody's been waiting for. I've said many times that the Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0 is the finest personal grooming tool that has ever been invented in the history of history. I can now say that is not correct, because now available for purchase in the United States and Canada, the Lawnmower 4.0 It's just out. Now, wait a minute. Hold on here.
What now? Hey!
There we go.
All right.
But this thing is amazing. This is not only now the greatest personal grooming tool that I have, this is one of the finest appliances that I have in my home. This thing is built with the precision of a fine TV or a DVD player or even a fine refrigerator or whatever, except it will not freeze your balls. The Lawnmower 4.0, where do I begin? Remember the LED light that the Lawnmower 3.0 has? Well, this one has a better one because you can turn it on and off individually, independently of whether the lawnmower is running or not. The LED spotlight, 4000K LED illuminating spotlight with diffuser, so it shines in the way that it's supposed to shine. But it's got a multi-function on and off switch, so you can turn the trimmer on and off, you can turn the spotlight on and off. It's also got a travel lock, so it won't. Have you ever had your various electric toothbrushes or personal grooming implements in your bag, and you're getting on and off the plane, and all of a sudden your bag is buzzing, and you got to root through it and try to, because it's hit the button? Well, there's a travel lock, so that will not happen. Because I cannot tell you, sometimes I've been going through security at these airports, and my bag would start buzzing. And then it's very embarrassing sometimes if it's not your toothbrush that's running. So that'll take care of this. Also, it's, what do they call it? Ergonomically designed. It feels good. It feels good when you're holding it in your hand. It's easily grippable. The switches are in the right places. Of course, the incredible blades. You can't call them blades because they don't cut you. And see, that's the thing with a lot of the boys out there, the wrestlers that are listening to me right now. I've seen guys using these cheap disposable Bic razors to shave that bushy body hair, and then you get nicked and you get cut, and or you get fucking zits that come up because your pores are infected, and then you're rolling around on a sweaty canvas, and that's where you get staph infection. So if you don't use a Manscaped product, you could very well kill yourself with blood poisoning. You cannot nick yourself with this thing. It's got a wireless charging system now. I still plug mine in the wall because I'm like that. But if you want to go wireless, you can charge this thing without fucking wires now. I don't even know how they do that stuff. So anyway, basically, and they've got a guard for each length size 1 through 4, so you can determine the centimeters length of your dick hair. It's amazing. The point is, the Lawnmower 4.0 is the best thing you're ever going to have in your hand, except for your little Winky himself. So right now, go to manscaped.com and use the code JCE and get 20% off and free shipping. Not only the Lawnmower 4.0, but everything else they got on the site. 20% off and free ship, and the free shipping is worldwide. Manscaped.com. Use the code JCE. As they say here on the literature, nobody wants to end up with pubic hair in their mouth.
It says that in the literature?
It says it right here.
All right.
In the literature.